Alright, let's get one thing straight. Even diehard speedrunning fans watch maybe 10 runners maximum. No one has any clue who the best speedrunner of all time is, nor is there any conceivable metric by which anyone can be called the GOAT speedrunner in the first place. Every time someone tries to make one of these lists, a bunch of speedrunners on social media get pissed about the whole thing. So why am I making this list? Well, aside from the fact that rage baiting is an art form, I think I'm a pretty good judge of these sorts of things. Like if you asked me, who is the greatest browser of all time? Well, there's only one GOAT in that list, and that's Opera GX, the sponsor for today's video. It is criminal the amount of times I've tried watching a new show only to find it's not available in my country. Well, with Opera GX's built-in VPN, I don't have to worry about that anymore. With one click, I can head over to a few different continents for free and enjoy my shows. If you use multiple devices, Opera GX has you covered as well. With VPN Pro, you can secure up to 6 devices with next-gen encryption. You get access to over 3,000 servers in 48 countries, meaning your data stays yours. Opera GX also has a built-in ad blocker, so with one click, your ads are gone. But that's not all Opera GX offers. There's a whole range of customization features that let you browse the internet in your style. Choose from mod themes like Cyberpunk, Very Spirited, or my personal favorite, Capybara Party. There's also splash scenes, background music, keyboard sounds, opening and closing tab sounds, wallpapers, shaders that change your screen, and custom cursors, as well as a mod enabler available from the mods menu right in your sidebar. You can visit the GX store to see the wide range of mods they have available. The biggest hassle of switching browsers is moving all of your extensions over, and Opera GX has you covered there too. You can import browsing history, bookmarks, and cookies directly over. GX is also compatible with every Google Chrome extension. Download Opera GX and do a bunch of cool shit using my tracking link in the description or the pinned comment below, and thanks again to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. I've been a speedrunning superfan since the first Awesome Games Done Quick in 2011, as well as a top-level runner in a few different games. In my eyes, there's a clear distinction between people who are great and people who are goated. So I want to make my own list. The list will be unordered, aside from the very last speedrunner I talk about, who is my fucking GOAT. There's gonna be a lot of bias, I will forget your favorite speedrunner, and we're gonna have a great time. So let's get into it. Starting with Green Suigi.
Become a billionaire, grab the secret star first try, find the Mario slippers. Those are my life goals.
This one is so obvious that I just want to get it out of the way. The most dominant runner of the most prestigious speed game, Mario 64. SM64 has 5 main categories: 0 star, 1 star, 16 star, 70 star, and 120 star. For nearly 25 years, people favored either the shorter categories or the longer categories, but usually not both. The shorter categories of 0, 1, and 16 star reward aggressive and risky strats, while the longer categories of 70 and 120 star reward consistency and endurance. Oftentimes, a runner who was great at one type could do reasonably well at the other, but you never really saw anyone truly breach containment and be a top-level threat at all 5. Until Green Suigi. And he didn't just get all 5 world records, he absolutely obliterated them. Veteran runners usually have about 10 years of experience, but it took Suigi just 4 to become the undisputed GOAT of Mario 64. He started speedrunning SM64 in March of 2020. After only 1 year and 8 months of playing, he beat out thousands of other players to set the new world record in 16 star. And from there, he immediately began learning the ins and outs of every other category. At the end of 2022, he narrowed his focus to the short categories. He got the world record in 1 star on February of 2023. Then he broke the final minute barrier of 1 star with the world's first 6.
I just fucking broke a minute barrier, dude! Oh my god! Yes, dude!
He then destroyed his own 16-star record again in March 2023 with a time that's so ridiculous that it's still world record today. And the very next month, he turned to 0-star, breaking the world record 4 times in just 2 weeks. But that wasn't enough. With the desire for the full world record sweep in his eyes, he set his sights back on 70 and 120 star. After only 2 months, in June 2023, he beat the 70-star world record, and then after a year of practice, he made history by getting the 120-star record in October of 2024. The first SM64 runner to ever get world record in all 5 categories.
Oh my god, I'm fucking him, dude. Oh my god, I did it again. I did it again. Oh my god.
But a runner had beaten his 70-star world record during this year, so Suigi needed to go back for the full sweep. It took him 2 weeks. And it wasn't just beating these records, it was the margin by which Suigi beat them. There were times when the difference between his time and second place was more than the difference between second place and 8th place. Never before had this community seen such clear dominance. People joked that Mario 64 speedrunning was dead because no other runner could realistically challenge his times. And to this date, Suigi's still grinding, and he still holds all 5 world records in SM64. He's even recently put up a several $1,000 bounty to the first person who can beat one of his world records. And while the entire rest of the field struggles to beat him even once, he's already beaten his 70-star world record twice since announcing the bounty. While names like Green Suigi get the spotlight, this GOAT chooses to lurk in the shadows, and he goes by many names. Veteran runners of Zelda Ocarina of Time remember him as Pydoix, the guy who dominated the game for years before disappearing completely. After wrong warping was discovered on February 19th, 2012, legendary runners like SVA, ZFG, and Narcissa Wright were fighting for the top spots. But then, a mysterious melee player named Pydoix shocked everyone by bursting into the scene and claiming the any % world record for himself. He held this record all throughout 2012 and 2013 and became the first person to beat OOT in under 20 minutes. He continued this dominance, and in December of 2013, he eventually beat it in 19 minutes and 5 seconds. He got the world record by a huge margin, and this was his reaction.
Alright, I'm gonna do another run.
Words simply cannot describe how much aura this guy had. His consistency was unreal, and he was an order of magnitude above everyone else on the leaderboard. And remember, this isn't some random category with no competition. This is fucking Ocarina of Time in 2013. The only games with more interest at this moment in speedrunning are Super Mario 64 and Trihex playing Yoshi's Island. He then went on to beat the Medallion Stones Trials record. Unlike any percent, MST is an endurance category, with runs stretching for over 2 hours. And even here, Pydoix showcased his deep expertise in this game. He got world record with 2 hours and 8 minutes, a record that stood for 419 days. He showed no signs of stopping, except he, did. Like almost immediately. He left the game and never came back. Until years later, on November 27, 2017, when he suddenly burst into the Super Mario Odyssey scene under the name of Shaden. The game had just been released, and runners were discovering new strats almost every day. In the early stages of this game, it was rare for any record to last more than a few days. Shaden came in and changed the game entirely by setting a world record with 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 39 seconds. His movements were so optimized that his records lasted weeks at a time, and he only kept getting better. Even legendary runners like Nicroveda, Iwabi74, and Vallu were more than a whole minute behind him. On March 5th, 2018, he shattered the record once again by getting a sub 104. His reaction?
Nice.
And when people were waiting to see what more he would achieve, he left. Why? He probably just got bored and wanted to play more Melee. In spite of his skill, he never sought out fame. Instead, his attitude reflected the calm confidence we saw in his runs. But funnily enough, fame found him once again years later by complete accident. We need to talk about the tower incident. In Final Fantasy XIV, the level Kugane Tower is a jumping puzzle whose record had been last set 5 years ago by a runner named Emo Otakon 370. Since then, nobody came close to beating that record of 43.58 seconds. For years, the tower stood tall, until one day, when someone decided to bring it crashing down. YouTuber Pint made it her mission to beat that record. She spent months training and made a really good video on it. At one point, she wrote a comment on Emoticon's video saying, "I will beat this," to which a reply came after half a decade of silence. She would try for 5 months and would finally beat the old record by 0.28 seconds. It was a great day for the FF14 community and an even greater day for Pint. Except, before the day was even over, Emoticon posted a video. Not even 24 hours had passed and he beat Pint's record by 4.54 seconds. And you guessed it, Emoticon was Pydoix all along. He came back out of retirement, beat the world record, refused to elaborate further, and left. All in an elephant costume. What's even crazier was that Pint was playing the game years later and had access to newer classes with dashes and other movement tech. He is constantly aura farming without even trying. It doesn't matter what name you call him. Shaden, Pydoix, Emoticon. He is here, and he's probably playing Melee with Poodle Skirt. If you put a gun to my head and ask me right now, Zem, who is the better of the two? First off, relax, alright? It's not that serious. Secondly, I don't think I'd be able to tell you. They're both epic, but also different. It's like asking me which one I prefer better, the cold side of my pillow or T1 Faker. Okay, well maybe that's an easy one. That's my real GOAT. And if you still want me to rank them, I'd politely suggest getting over it with Bennett Foddy. You probably remember this game from 2017 from literally every streamer on planet Earth and their mothers raging over it. What many people don't know is the first guy who beat the game in under 2 minutes. Distortion 2 has a reputation in this community as being the guy who plays games that are hard as fuck and he gets world record in all of them. And after researching him a bit, I can confirm this is true. Take for example, Cuphead. Dist ran Cuphead back in 2017 and went toe-to-toe with the best runners at the time, CosmicSense and TheMexicanRunner. He got a sub 27-minute world record, which I assume was considered great at the time, and then dipped to go play something else. That something else was getting over it. With this game blowing up and reaching millions of people early in its life, all eyes were on the speedrunning scene to see who would get the first sub 2-minute run. Runner Lumonen had been dominating the scene throughout its early life, and so he was the obvious choice to get this legendary time. However, at 2 minutes and 4 seconds, Lumonen got stuck. One might say he couldn't get over the invisible wall of sub 2. Speedrunning is largely a mental game, and runners often choke numerous times before breaking through and getting the time they want.
I cannot believe what I've just done.
But Dist, like a tour de force, didn't have the same issue. At no point had he ever taken world record away from Lumonen except for the one time it mattered. Dist closed out the sub 2 about 2 weeks after Lumonen's 204 and then proceeded to never run it again. This is what he does. He shows up to a game when it's at its absolute hottest, destroys everyone, and then leaves. Hollow Knight. He did the first recorded speedrun of this game, which of course means he had the first world record. Afterwards, he left. Shadow of the Colossus destroyed the first recorded world record by over 40 minutes, then left. Doom Eternal lowered the world record from 46 minutes to 30 minutes, then left. Only Up took on some insanely talented French and Chinese runners, beat all of them, got the first sub 17-minute run with the whole world watching, then left. I think you get the idea. Of course, after he leaves these games, the runners who stay around surpass his legacy, but that's not the point. Timeliness is one of the most universally important skills in life. To master timeliness is to be able to create your own good luck everywhere you go. Case in point, anytime Dist goes live, thousands of people watch. He's built a reputation for knowing when to show up, and his audience loves him for it. Most people would probably know Dist from either Dark Souls or Resident Evil. He's speedrun most of these games, achieved a bunch of world records, and had a shit ton of articles written about him. To this day, he spends most of his streams playing Souls-likes or Resident Evil challenge mods. He's a gamer's gamer, always playing whatever he thinks would be sick. I have a cool story from when Dist and I crossed paths. Back in 2020, I put up a $1,000 bounty for anybody who could beat my Ratchet 3 New Game Plus world record within 1 year. To my surprise, this caught Dist's attention and he decided to try the game out. He showed a ton of promise and was picking up some very hard strats even with the limited resources at the time. Unfortunately, after only a few days, Dist decided that the juice wasn't really worth the squeeze and he went back to his own business. Dist, if you ever decided that you want a real challenge, the Ratchet community would welcome you back with open arms. But not all communities are this accepting. After all, when runner Rayan Isran asked to be included in the ranks of GoldenEye speedrunners back in 2005, the community outright rejected him. Though they had a pretty good reason. The times he claimed to have achieved were quite good, especially for someone who was submitting for the first time, but that wasn't necessarily the part that made it suspicious. What really made them not trust Rayan was the fact that he claimed he was 10 years old. No one believed that someone that young could possibly be that good at the game. That is, until he posted a video showing he was the real deal.
Yeah, take that, ma.
TheElite.net is the premier website for GoldenEye and Perfect Dark speedrunning. The way you climb the ranks is by accumulating points from achieving good times on all 20 of the game's stages across 3 difficulties, totaling 60 individual levels. The closer your time is to the world record, the more points out of 100 you collect. Whoever has the highest overall point total across all 60 levels is considered the champion. Over the next 2 years, from 2005 to 2007, Perfect Ace would see steady improvements in both games, and he demonstrated a rising skill level that was already on par with some of the past champions. But up until this point, he had been playing on a PAL console. While PAL was fine or even advantageous for some levels of Perfect Dark, it was not always the optimal version. NTSC runs at 30 frames per second as opposed to PAL's 25 frames per second. With NTSC's improved frame rate, doors, elevators, and any physics-based object operate faster. This puts NTSC runners at a significant advantage on many different levels. But living in Pakistan meant Rayan had no access to an NTSC console. So in 2007, 2 members of the Elite named Carathorn and RedBull decided to do something about this. They raised money by playing online poker. They combined their winnings and used the money to buy and send Rayan his very own NTSC console and copies of the games. And just a few months later, Rayan became the Perfect Dark champion for his first time. An early example of his greatness can be found in his Mayan SOS Perfect Agent 202 he got on his new NTSC console. His 202 on this brutally difficult level where ammo is scarce and any stray burst can kill you was so good that it stood untied for 9.5 years. After becoming Perfect Dark champ, it took him only 7 months to become the GoldenEye champ, achieving the prestigious dual champ feat. And over the next nearly 20 years, Rayan has proven himself to be the most dominant player in the history of both games. He has been the GoldenEye champ for over 3,000 combined days and the Perfect Dark champ for 4,239 days exactly. In fact, Rayan has been the current reigning GoldenEye champ for over 4 years straight. Assuming he's still number 1 as of March 16th, 2026, which is a safe assumption, he will have achieved the longest unbroken number 1 streak in GoldenEye history. 1,507 consecutive days at number 1. In my opinion, the funniest part of Rayon's gaming journey is nested deep in the bio of his personal website. Despite everything he's achieved in these games, he says, and I quote, "I do not consider myself as a gamer. I just happen to be good at some games." Some people are just fucking freaks, man. I don't know. If you ask me what I was doing at 10 years old, I don't even know what speedrunning was. For me, that would happen many years later when I came across Narcissa. She is regarded as one of the OG legends of speedrunning alongside names like Trihex, Caleb Hart, and Siglemic. When she started out, speedrunning was basically a bunch of gamers hanging out in a room trying to break their favorite game. It is partly because of her influence that speedrunning is as popular as it is today. Known as Cosmo at the time, her streams and public appearances garnered a lot of attention and pushed speedrunning from a niche hobby to the mainstream, paving the way for many that would come after her. She appeared at major events like AGDQ and DreamHack and also placed second in the Nintendo World Championship. Her run of Ocarina of Time Any Percent in 18 minutes and 10 seconds would go down in history as one of the first speedrun explained videos and inspire a ton of people to start speedrunning themselves. Moreover, this run was so utterly iconic for its time that people genuinely believed it would never be beaten. If you were around the speedrunning community at that time, you knew the meme, OOT is dead. She defeated Ganon in 15 minutes and 23 seconds, a record that holds 3rd place even 11 years later. She was also an incredibly adept Wind Waker speedrunner because I remember watching her world record runs. However, she deleted her speedrun.com profile a long time ago, and so I was unable to find out exactly what she accomplished. But her contributions didn't stop at demolishing these games. She co-created the site Speedruns Live, a platform where runners could compete in races against one another. While it's a site not used as frequently in this day and age, it was a complete game changer for speedrunners and live streamers in the 2010s. I can foresee people having issues with me putting Narcissa on this list, especially because there's even other Zelda runners who have far surpassed her legacy. Runners like ZFG, Runners like ZFG, Demon, SVA, Runner Guy, Enop, Marco, and so many others are all incredible in their own right. I think you can make an argument for many of these runners, and I'd see where you're coming from. But to me, it's her overall presence and influence that makes her impossible not to include on this list. Everyone who knows anything about speedrunning knows who she is, and when you combine that with her elite gaming prowess and contributions to the early days of this hobby, her legacy is undeniable. Her AGDQ 2012 run was the run that inspired me to make my Twitch account, and since this is my video, I get to be biased. But while Narcissa is a legend of the past, Hypnoshark represents everything great about speedrunning in the present. You see, Hypnoshark is really good at racing games. He also really loves Crash Team Racing. In fact, he loves it so much, he went up on the highest mountain in Wales to speedrun it. That's not what we meant when we told him we want to see him get high and play CTR, but it's close enough. Hypno has such a powerful legacy speedrunning CTR that the two are nearly synonymous. He's first place in almost every category, and he's been speedrunning the game nearly every day for about a decade. Although he rose to fame with CTR, he is not a one-trick pony. His racing repertoire includes Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart World, Speed Freaks, Ridge Racer Type 4, Muppet Race Mania, Splashdown, and of course, Looney Tunes Racing. But even beyond racing games, he does shades of everything. Spyro, Crash, Pokemon, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2005, even fucking Bob the Builder. He's an example of what it means to stream and play for the love of speedrunning, and I want to give you my personal argument for why he's on this list. He's living proof that the formula for greatness may not be easy, but it is incredibly simple. He streams probably 350 days a year, only taking time off to travel to speedrunning events like UKSG and ESA. And even throughout every emotional up and down you could imagine, the only times I've ever heard him upset are when technical difficulties shut his stream off. His attitude of consistency towards content creation helped pull me out of one of the darkest periods of my life. He inspired me to stop seeing content creation as something that required huge clickbaity ideas and instead start seeing it as the product of little victories every single day. He is deservedly the #1 streamer in the PlayStation Nation right now, and I hope to continue learning and growing from his influence as time moves forward. Hypno is living proof that greatness can be the product of little victories, but there's only one runner I've ever seen whose legacy is the result of repeatedly huge victories. Of being able to climb the highest heights in all of speedrunning multiple times and somehow make it look easy. And that runner is Ouija. There is no word I can use to describe Ouija as a speedrunner other than brilliant. It's no secret that in speedrunning, the 3D Mario games are held to a level of prestige above probably every other game. People spend their entire speedrunning careers trying to master one of them, and the apex of the leaderboard is reserved for the best of the best. But Ouija has done it multiple times in multiple games. He's the only runner, to my knowledge, who has gotten world record in both Super Mario Sunshine Any Percent and 3 separate SM64 categories. This alone is a feat so mind-boggling that I would have considered putting him on this list just for that. But what's really impressed me about Ouija in recent years is his repeatedly great performances in speedrunning challenges. For those unaware, there's been a trend over the last half-decade of people or developers doing $10,000 speedrun challenges where whoever has world record in a game after usually a 2-week period wins a shitload of money. As you can imagine, the draw of speedrunning for potentially thousands of dollars attracts runners from all corners of the community. Ouija has participated in a bunch of them over the years, and he usually wins. In fact, of the numerous challenges he's completed, spanning tons of different kinds of games, the worst performance I can find is 3rd place. The interesting thing about Ouija to me is, I genuinely can't tell if he even enjoys this hobby sometimes. He has this funny reputation of carrying this sort of somber attitude even when he's absolutely destroying the game he's playing. I hope that doesn't come across as me discrediting him or making fun of him. It's anything but that. I just want to point out the sort of ironic humor of this guy who seems kind of sad while achieving times 99% of speedrunners would give their left nut for. Outside of maybe Rayon, I think Ouija is the most gifted speedrunner on this entire list. And personally, I hope I get the chance to play against him on an even playing field someday. We are nearly at the end here, folks. I have one speedrunner left to share with you all, and in my opinion, he is the greatest of all of them. Before I share who it is, here are some honorable mentions that I also think are incredible, but I did not have time to talk about in this video. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, those are really good speedrunners. Oh, I really like that guy. Oh, hey, I'm on there. I'm not biased at all. Oh, I know that guy. Oh yeah, I like that guy a lot. Oh. Ooh, he's on there? Controversial. Oh my, oh yeah. Oh, that's a really good shout, yeah. Oh, thank goodness you remembered that person. Yo, shout out Samurai Man, fucking love that guy. Many speedrunners have been able to achieve fast times. Few have been able to do it in every game they touch. And of all the speedrunners I've ever met, only one has been able to crush every game they play, create amazing video essays, and lift an entire community into the spotlight nearly single-handedly. He even helped me tremendously in putting together the script for this video, but he has no idea I'm putting him on this list. Surprise! In my opinion, the greatest speedrunner of all time is one of my personal heroes, and someone I am lucky to call a dear friend. The Rixer. The Rixer, or Ricky as he's known, started speedrunning 13 years ago. Even back then, he was one of the best speedrunners of his time, and he has been consistently running at a top level ever since. He's one of the founders of the PlayStation Nation and is loved and admired by everyone in the community. People look to him as a natural leader. If you ever go to an ESA, you'll see him running around the whole week like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to spend a little bit of time with everyone he knows. I don't think anyone has a bone to pick with him in this community, but I also think if anyone tried, they'd get ganged up on by about 100 different people. As far as his accomplishments go, Ricky is completely unbound by genre and is timelessly great at every style of gaming. His speedrun.com profile is a cornucopia of every type of game you can imagine, and he's gotten top times and world records in nearly all of them. Let's break down just some of his many notable achievements. He's one of the undisputed GOATs of Jak 3 and Ratchet & Clank 1, two very different PlayStation platformers with deep pools of top-level competition. He's the current world record holder in Mega Man X4 0, any percent, and 100%, which he did, funnily enough, on the same speedrun. It should be noted that Mega Man X4 is a game he believed he would never be able to get world record in, and he proved himself wrong in about 10 months. He's gotten world record in a ton of offshoot meme games like Dog's Life, Smarty's Meltdown, Street Boys, Dad and Me, and Electric Man 2. But in classic Ricky fashion, he doesn't just get the world records in these games. He popularizes them in the PlayStation Nation, elevating these games to a sort of meme status. And as a result, he ends up encouraging many other runners to give these games a shot. He's one of the highest rated perfect dark runners in the world, despite the fact that he stopped running 6 years ago. He even assassinated JFK in 0.31 seconds. There was a time in the mid-2010s where he stopped speedrunning for a while to play semi-professional Overwatch. It's not super relevant for this video, but it is a testament to how disgusting of a gamer he is. He got world record in the original God of War, a game with a shitload of passionate Brazilian runners, and then made a video essay on the game. That video, The Man Who Broke God of War in Half, is one of the most watched speedrun videos of all time. Similarly, he made a YouTube video on Dragon Ball Z Budokai speedruns that also went viral. In this video, he talked at length about how this game is a nightmare to speedrun due to inconsistent opponent behavior and RNG. He then proceeded to get world record in both major categories. And on that note, I'm going to make a bold statement. Ricky is the single best speedrunning YouTuber in the world right now. Trust me, I know there are a lot of incredible YouTubers in this space, and this is not meant to diss any of them. But no one combines all the pieces together quite like Ricky. He's able to simultaneously teach you everything you need to understand in such simple ways while weaving together beautiful storylines that keep the people he talks about real. Ricky's video on the history of Hypnoshark was so good that after I watched it, I had to sit in the shower for about 20 minutes and think about my life. If you want to learn how to make great videos, watch Ricky. Ricky is the GOAT because he loves speedrunning more than anyone else. For someone of his reputation, he barely has an ego and doesn't hold that desire to crush people or dominate games that many others have. Instead, he's living proof that the people who soar to the greatest heights are the people who love the deepest.
Guys, I'm gonna fucking die.
It baffles me that for all the videos he's made on other people, no one has ever made a full-length video about him. So I'm going to change that. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you're all able to click away from this with a little bit more knowledge than you had when you first started. I'm sure the comment section is going to be full of calm, reasonable intellectuals. Thank you, as always, to my patrons for supporting my videos financially. You can find the link to my Patreon in the description of this video if you'd like to support me as well. I'll see you guys in the next one.